Hello everyone, this is Direwolf20 and welcome to a very special updated mod spotlight. Sorry Temma, it's not Career Bees, it is Building Gadgets by yours truly, Direwolf20. Those of you who've seen my previous Building Gadgets mod spotlight know that I made my own little mod called Building Gadgets that helps you build. And over the past few months since I released the initial version of Building Gadgets, I've been adding new features to it. If you follow me on Twitter, you've probably seen some of these features. However, it is now released on CurseForge as a beta, so definitely want you guys to take a look and try it out. So I wanted to make a quick mod spotlight so that those of you who don't follow me on Twitter can learn about the fact that it exists and also see all the new cool stuff. The new version of Building Gadgets has some updated features for the existing tools, as well as a bunch of new items and blocks that I want to show you. So let's get started. First, taking a look at the additions to the building and exchanging gadget that we have. So as you recall, the building gadget had several different modes for building in, and one of the new additions is the radial menu for choosing a mode. So there's a hotkey for this that allows you to bring up this radial menu. You keep it held down, and you can choose the mode. And I think most of these modes existed at the time of the creation of the first video. I forget if stairs was there, but basically stairs allows you to build stairs either upwards or downwards based on, towards you and away from you based on the side of the block that you're looking at. So it's a pretty neat addition that allows you to build up or down. So it can, if you're looking at a block way up above you, you can build down and towards yourself. And if you're looking at a block in front of you, it'll build up and away. And it follows the range setting as well, so that you can kind of see how far away things are going to get. You can adjust the range, etc., etc. So that's that mode. And then also in addition to that, I added a checkerboard mode. So checkerboard's a pretty neat mode. The way it works is it starts off in like a standard checkerboard like this. So if you wanted to create a checkerboard pattern, you could do something as follows. Let's say you wanted to do a checkerboard of cobblestone and smoothstone. You could do cobblestone and then you could put smoothstone like that, and it creates kind of a neat checkerboard concept, right? Or you could undo it and maybe do something like this, right? And then you could have some checkerboards in here. Pretty spiffy. So you can use checkerboard mode in its default settings to do some pretty cool stuff. But then as you expand it, it expands the range between the blocks. So at range 1, there's 1 block of space in between each block. At range 2, there's 2 blocks of space between each block, as you can see here, 1, 2, and 1, 2. And then range 3, 4, 5, 6 is kind of the max range for the checkerboard pattern, with 6 blocks in between each. And then when you go to range 7, it kind of starts over with 1 block of space in between each block again, but you get more blocks placed down. Also, it should be noted that when you are at the max range here, this is also the perfect placement spacing for torches. So when you place torches like this, you will fill the area with a perfect pattern that will not cause mobs to spawn within the area. The exchanging gadget also has a checkerboard mode so that you can exchange in a checkerboard pattern. So if you'd like to do that, you're more than welcome to. Pretty spiffy. And in fact, it also obviously has a radial menu here. Another feature that has been added to the exchanging gadget is the option, and this is also a hotkey. So if we go into controls here and check a look at building gadgets, the undo button that is used to undo building with the building gadget can also be used to toggle fuzzy mode for the exchanging gadget. And what fuzzy mode does is typically, if you were, for example, doing a wall, and let's say we were doing a 3x3 pattern, right? You would normally only exchange the same block type you're looking at. However, if we turn on fuzzy mode, it will ignore the block type and exchange in a 3x3 regardless of what blocks are inside that 3x3 area. So with fuzzy mode off, we're only going to exchange the grass. With fuzzy mode on, we're going to exchange all block types, whether they match the one we're looking at or not. Pretty spiffy. And as a reminder, if you want a Silk Touch with this, you can put the Silk Touch enchant on the exchanging gadget to get a Silk Touch exchanging gadget, which will allow you to, pick up grass and other Silk Touch related materials. The first new feature to cover in building gadgets is the construction paste. Construction paste is a nifty way to allow you to build without having the materials always needed to build with. To make construction paste is pretty straightforward. First, you need to get some construction block powder, which is lapis, clay, because of course clay is super balanced, and sand. You place one of these blocks near a water block, and it'll slowly convert into construction paste block. It takes about 4 seconds to convert, and once the conversion is done, you can break it to pick up a piece of construction paste. Woohoo! Automating this is totally up to you how you do that, but one option you could do is place construction powder in a line with the build to me mode, and then once they've converted, hit the undo button and it'll break those blocks and give you the construction paste back. But there's obviously a million other ways to automate this with mods as well. What construction paste allows you to do is to build with any material regardless of how expensive it is. So let's go ahead and build a 3x3 vertical wall. Without construction paste, you would normally need 3x3 or 9 blocks of diamonds to place a 3x3 wall of diamonds. However, with construction paste, you're able to build with diamond blocks. It's pretty straightforward. Automatically by default, if you have the correct item in your inventory, the building gadgets will use those items. However, if you don't, it'll look for construction paste as a second alternative. Placing it in the world, you'll see it looks like construction paste at first, but over a second or two it cools down and it looks just like diamonds. However, when you break these blocks, you don't get diamond blocks back. Obviously, you get your construction paste back. So you will never get an actual diamond. There is no way to dupe with this material. It only looks like diamonds. It does not actually behave like diamonds. Some materials attributes are mimicked, others are not. So attributes, for example, like the bounding boxes of blocks are mimicked. So if you paste down a flower like so, you'll see that you can walk right through it. And if you paste down stairs, you can walk up them just like you would stairs. And the same applies to slabs and all other blocks. So they are as solid as a real block would be. They just mimic whatever block they're taking on the properties of. However, not all attributes are copied. For example, mimicked glowstone blocks do not emit light. Mimicked redstone torches do not emit a redstone signal, etc. You can come up with some interesting effects as a result of using the mimicked blocks here, the construction paste blocks. For example, tall grass doesn't need to be anchored on anything anymore. Sand does not fall, and there's a few other interesting effects you can copy. You can also create a construction paste container. These are capable of storing 512 construction paste objects, items. I've considered bumping that up, so that might change in the future. I feel like 512 isn't quite enough. What happens is with construction paste, if you right click on it, it'll automatically go into the container. And as mentioned, you can store up to 512. And as you start storing it in a container, it'll render up to a quarter. So this is a quarter full, and then when you have it up to a half full, you'll see it renders half full, et cetera, all the way up to completely full. And when you have construction paste in a container, it'll obviously automatically use it. So if we right now have 264 paste in this container and we place a block, we'll now see that we have 263. Picking up construction paste will also automatically go into a container if there's room for one in your inventory, so you don't have to worry about manually putting it in if you're picking it up out of the world. So it should be noted that all 4 gadgets, the copy-paste gadget, which we're about to see, the exchanging gadget, and the building gadget, are all capable of using construction paste for their building purposes. And if you do have the proper item in your inventory, like a block of diamond, for example, it will go ahead and use that first. So you can see this bottom right one is a real diamond block, and the other 8 turned into construction paste blocks. And then obviously, as you would expect, when you break the real diamond block, you get a diamond block, and all the others are broken into construction paste. So without further ado, why don't I show you guys the item that I'm most proud of, and that is the most recent addition, which is the copy-paste gadget. This gadget allows you to copy and paste an area of blocks and replace them in the world. So it's pretty straightforward. There's 2 modes, copy and paste. So in copy mode, which you start off in, you want to highlight an area of blocks. So for example, if I wanted to pick up these blocks right here, so let's do something like this. You'd start by right-clicking, and that's the starting point of that copy. And then shift right-click becomes the ending point, and it will highlight the area to let you know what you selected. Once you see this box around things, you know you've selected something properly. Looking at the gadget, you'll be able to hold shift and find out what materials you need in order to paste this into the world. So it's telling you on this tooltip you need 1 block of stone, dirt, diamond, and cobblestone. It's also telling you underneath the dirt and diamond that you don't have enough of those. You're short 1 piece of dirt and 1 piece of diamond. So for example, if we had a second piece of dirt down here, and we extended this by simply right-clicking, so now this is the start point and the end point remains the same, we'll see that we need 2 pieces of dirt, and we're missing 2. If we had 1 on us, we'll see that we need 2 pieces of dirt and we're missing 1. So the number in red in parentheses is what we're missing. If you don't have all the items you need, it will also tell you on the end how much construction paste is going to be used and whether you have enough. If you don't have enough in your inventory, you'll notice that the construction paste number also turns red. But since we had some in our inventory, there is no red number under the construction paste. Pretty cool. If we don't need any construction paste, so for example, we have all the materials we need, that construction paste little image won't show up at all. And pasting to the world is as simple as moving into paste mode, and you'll notice that the block you're looking at, it's going to paste these blocks on top of it. So basically look at this block and it'll build them on top. And you can anchor just like with the building gadget, and you can even rotate this and rotate it around to change the direction of the block that you're placing. And simply right click to place the blocks in the world. And suddenly we've copied all those blocks, and it took the blocks out of our inventory appropriately. If we didn't have all the blocks we need, as expected, it will substitute with construction paste. So it'll use construction paste where necessary. We had cobblestone and stone, so it didn't use paste for that, but we didn't have the dirt and diamond, so it did use construction paste there. And just like with the other tools, when you break a construction paste block, you're always going to get the paste back, so don't expect any dupes to occur. So it should be noted that just like the other two gadgets, you cannot copy tile entities with this. So any tile entities will simply be excluded from the list of selected blocks. So chests and furnaces and other tile entities like that will not work. So you can probably imagine quite a few uses for the copy paste tool. So simply to do this, what we're going to do is set this to copy mode. We're going to highlight this block, and then we will highlight the opposing corner of our 9x9. So we can see we have a fancy little 9x9 here. I just highlighted the opposing corners of it, and now we can go ahead and paste it into the world. So simply by dropping it right here in the world, we'll anchor it. We'll see what this will look like if we paste it. Pretty straightforward. Nifty. And then assuming that we have enough blocks, it looks like we're short a little bit of cobblestone and a crafting table. So let's go ahead and get those. And now it looks like we have enough. So simply right click to paste all the blocks in the world. And we have a make your own 9x9. Pretty cool. Do note that if there's blocks in the way, just like with the other tools, it'll overwrite things like grass and other things, but regular blocks that wouldn't be overwritten by being able to right click inside the space are gonna not be overwritten. So keep that in mind. That was actually a design decision that I came up with. I wasn't sure originally if I wanted to overwrite blocks, and in the end I decided I did not want it to overwrite blocks. The copy paste gadget does have the ability to undo blocks, so it'll remove blocks that it would have placed. Just keep that in mind. There is only one undo. With the with the building gadget, it remembers 10. So like an undo history of 10. The copy paste gadget only has an undo history of 1. So make sure that once you've placed the structure, it's in a good place and you're happy with where it's at before you go ahead and place another structure. Because if you want to undo it, you can only undo once. And since you're creating all these fancy cool structures like 9x9s, you're probably going to want to be able to record them somewhere. Enter the template manager. The template manager allows you to save the structures that you've copied in a copy paste gadget to items in the world. So you'll notice here that if we take a look, we've got this nifty little render here that shows you the structure that was copied. Pretty fancy. And you can left click to move it around. You can right click to pan it, and you can mouse wheel to zoom in and out. Nice. So you have a good idea of what the structure looks like once you place your copy paste gadget in the left hand inventory slot. If you want to save this, you just simply place a piece of paper in the right hand inventory slot and hit save. And this will write that template to a template item. And you can hold shift on the template item as well to figure out what items are needed, just like you can with the copy paste gadget. If you'd like, you can also give it a name like awesome building and hit save. And you'll notice that the template now has a name, which is Awesome Building. So you can save that template and store it anywhere in the world that you want. If you were to get yourself a brand new copy paste gadget and place this into the slot here, you simply place your template in the right hand slot and hit load, and you'll notice that you've now got a 9x9 structure. Pretty spiffy. If you'd like to share this with your friends, it's pretty straightforward. Simply hit the copy button. And what this does is it puts a bunch of text onto your computer's clipboard. And if I were to hit the paste key on my clipboard right now, you'll see a subset of that text. It's pretty large, so you're not going to be able to see it in game. Intended use of this is being able to share it on forums and message boards, or you could drop it in Pastebin. Once you have that text copied to your clipboard, you can simply go ahead and place a piece of paper and hit paste, and it'll turn that text into a template. Now you can grab yourself a copy paste gadget and hit load to transfer what's on the template into the copy paste tool. Pretty awesome. So to demonstrate this, a week or two ago, I basically tweeted out and said, hey, somebody make me a cool building and send me the code for it, and I will paste it in my game and check it out. So somebody basically created a cool building, stored it on their copy paste gadget, hit the copy button. The information that was stored on their computer's clipboard, they put on a paste bin, and I copied that, and I'm going to load it up into the world now. So all I have to do is hit paste, and then hit load, and now we can see the building that this person made me. So now my copy paste gadget is capable of placing this building in the world. I'm going to go into creative mode, just to show you guys what it looks like so I can fly up above the trees, because it's a pretty large building. If you hold shift over the copy paste gadget, once again, you're going to see all the blocks that are necessary. And also keep in mind, tile entities are blacklisted, so if you do use any tile entities, they're not going to be placed in the world. The other nice benefit of this is it's specifically coded such that if the person who made the paste structure has a mod that you don't have, it'll just place air instead. So there's actually elevator blocks from the elevator mod in part of this gadget's paste. However, I don't have that mod in this instance that I'm demoing with, so we're just going to get air instead. So let's go ahead and throw this guy into paste mode, and that looks pretty cool. Nice. Does that look like a good place? No, let's put it a little bit higher. That looks good. So I'm just going to paste this building into my world by right-clicking. And ta-da! We've got it. How cool is that? So the elevator blocks would have been here in the center, and there would have been another 3x3 of elevator blocks up here on the top. So they are missing because I don't have the elevator mod installed in my instance. Pretty cool. And as promised, you do have one undo. So if I go back into game mode 1 so that I can fly, I'll demonstrate undoing the placement of this structure. Ta-da! Now, as a reminder, if you're in creative mode, it doesn't actually use the items in your inventory. It just goes ahead and places them whether you have the items or not. However, to demonstrate construction paste, I'm going to go ahead and get myself a bunch, just enough so that I can place this in the world. And I'm going to store it all inside some paste containers. So as you can see, I currently have about 3,021 paste, or a little bit more, stored in all my paste containers. So I'm going to go ahead and place this entire structure now with construction paste, like so. And we can go fly in here, and you'll see that the structure looks pretty good. So remember, this entire structure was built with construction paste this time, rather than with the real blocks. And as promised, when you go ahead and break one of these blocks, outside of creative mode obviously, you'll get construction paste back instead of the real block. And as with things before, if you go ahead and undo the structure, it'll go ahead and give you all your construction paste back. So big shout out to Dinner Beef on Twitter for hooking me up with that fancy looking building up there. Let's try one more paste code, shall we? So I'm going to throw another piece of paper in here, like so, and we're going to hit paste, and that'll store a new structure for me. Let's get our copy paste gadget and hit load, and we'll see, whoa, that's a fancy looking block structure. Isn't that cool looking? Should we check it out? Yes, I think we should. What all do we need for this? Oh, that's a lot of things. All right, if I'm not mistaken, I've just gotten all the materials I need to place this in the world. Some of this could have been construction paste, but keep in mind, redstone will not work in construction paste mode. So if you're trying to paste redstone or redstone repeaters or the redstone torches or the levers or the lamps or the redstone blocks, none of those would work as construction paste. They would look like those blocks, but they wouldn't actually function. So I went ahead and gave myself everything I need. So let's go ahead and place this bad boy in the world and see what it looks like. Ooh, that's fancy looking. Thank you, BM Major. That is a neat looking block. Let's see what this thing does. So if I flip this lever, wow, fancy, that's cool. And if I flip this lever, neat. I hope that's what it's supposed to do, Major. I really do. I think that one torch didn't move, or that one thing on the right didn't move. He does not want to sticky himself properly. There we go. Nice! That is a cool vault door, dude. Every now and then that one block gets a little bit stuck up. I think it might just be a timing issue, though. Super cool, though. So again, that was sent to me as a paste structure. I pasted it in my game, and it worked. So definitely would like to see, I'm hoping, personally, I kind of hope that we're going to see a bunch of, like, maybe like a Reddit place or like a forum post somewhere where people will be sharing cool buildings that they made and cool structures. Remember, no tile entities. Sorry, guys. Tile entity support is definitely going to be way too complicated for something like this, but that's pretty cool. One more feature of the copy-paste gadget that I want to make sure to show you, and this one comes across when you try and copy a structure like this. Right? So when you copy a structure like this, there is no opposing corners that you can click on. So how does this work? So in order to copy this area, go ahead and start by right-clicking here and shift right-clicking there and highlighting something nearby. Now, if you shift right-click on nothing, which is empty space, you'll get a nice little UI. There's two modes to this user interface. The default mode is relative positions. So the start X is where you start relative to the first block you clicked on, and the end X is where you end, or the distance from the start position relative to the block you clicked on. So if we want to move this position up 1, we can simply do +1 on the Y. So right now what we have highlighted is this. So you can see it's these 3 blocks, this, and this. And if I throw it into the template guy here, you'll kind of see what I'm talking about. Right? So if we want to move that up on the Y, so the first line will move it, right? So +1 on the Y and hit OK, and it'll move the structure up. If you want to extend the structure, you're going to want to go ahead and change the index position, and hitting that will extend it up, right? So this top line will move the whole structure up, or move it down on the Y, and this one will extend or shrink on the Y. And then the same positioning for the X, obviously, so that moved it forward or closer to me, and then move it back on the X, moves it like that. And if we wanted to, maybe extend it out forward 1, it could do that, etc. Alternately, if you want to play in absolute coordinate mode, you just hit this button, and it'll switch it to changing the positions. And this is just what's the position of the start block and what's the position of the end block. So in this case, it doesn't move it when you're changing the start X. It goes ahead and just changes the start X's position. So if we made the start position down 1, it'll extend it down 1. And if we made the start position up there, it'll do that. And you can also make changes to this, so you can see like we're at 67 now. So if we bumped this down, it would be at 66 in coordinates mode, and if we bumped it up, it would be at 67 again. So feel free to use absolute or relative coordinate mode. You can also hit the clear button here to completely clear the copy of the structure. So if you want, you can do that. Pretty nifty. The limitations on copying and pasting structures are as follows. You can copy an area that's at most 125 by 125 by 125 blocks long, no longer. So 125 blocks is a pretty reasonable amount, but there's data limitations on why I made that number. So 125 is the max length of the area that you can copy in any of the 3 X, Y, or Z directions. In addition, 32,768 is the maximum number of blocks you're allowed to copy. So that doesn't count air. So you can have, a 125 by 125 by 125 hollow structure, but if it were filled, that would be too many blocks. It would be more than 32,000 blocks. In terms of the copy-paste functionality here, the limit is around 12,000 blocks. So the 125 limit is the same, but in terms of trying to copy and paste into this structure, and you'll get an error message down here on the bottom. So for example, if you didn't have the right thing and you tried to do paste, you'll get a paste failed invalid JSON message. So it'll give you a separate message saying the paste was too large if you tried to paste a structure that has more than 12,000 blocks in it. And again, that's a data limitation right now that I might expand later. So for now, Darrell20 signing off. Hope you enjoyed the mod spotlight on building gadgets. It is available now. It's flagged as a beta. If you guys do run into any bugs or major issues or problems that you can find, please feel free to go ahead and report them on the GitHub. Otherwise, try out the mod and tell me what you guys think. For now, take it easy.